Getting sober is like, welcome to your fucking feels. Anger, doubt, guilt, shame, rage, triggers, anxiety, all of the feels, all of the time. Hi, I'm Kirsten, welcome back to my subscribers. If you are new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so you get notifications of upcoming videos. In this video, I'm gonna share with you some tips on how to navigate the emotional roller coaster that is early sobriety. I got sober in September 2009, and back then it felt like I had one really long anxiety attack until I learned how to feel comfortable in my skin, which was a top priority because of how anxious I felt all the time. I can look back now with hindsight and realize that not only were my emotions all over the place because I'd been numbing out for years. I was drinking for 17 years, so I hadn't ever learned how to navigate my emotions from a place of emotional resiliency or mastery or anything like that. I felt good, I would drink. I felt bad, I would drink. I was angry, I would drink. Something amazing happened, I would drink. Something crappy happened, I would drink. Any emotion I had, a lot of the time it was punctuated with alcohol. You feel me? You feel me? So I became highly motivated to learn how to feel comfortable in my skin. I was also kind of unemployable in my first year of recovery. My brain was all over the place. It was about 6 months sober. I went to Mysore, India to do Ashtanga yoga, and while I was there, I found a guru. My friends recommended me I go to him, and so I went to this guy and he taught me how to meditate. He also taught me how to change my relationship with my thoughts and my feelings, which was a game changer. And it still took me a bit of navigating. I got really into practicing the power of now as an audiobook. I'd listen to it every morning for like 10 to 15 minutes for like the first 2 years of my recovery. Basically, I was a ball of frazzled nerves and very, very eager to learn how to rewire my nervous system. So that was my journey. That was the beginning. And what I can say now, especially if you're in that spot now where you're really anxious and you're having this thought like, wait, wasn't I confident before? What happened? What happened to that confident person? That you actually can regain that confidence in sobriety. And I made a video for you on that. So if you want to check it out up here, rebuilding confidence in early recovery. Another thing that helped me with the emotional roller coaster that I imagine would help you as well is building and growing a relationship with a higher power. And if you haven't seen my video on that yet, click up here and watch that video too. I had those feelings all over the place from getting sober. I also had, I was getting off benzos, so I had a long benzo withdrawal. I don't know if any of y'all relate to benzo withdrawals. Actually, I have a video about that too if you want to click up here and watch my getting off benzos video. So many videos to share with you because this has been my life. Also, something that came to the surface and I realized in recovery, it took me a while for more to be revealed and me to see the truth of the journey of my nervous system, is that I was very traumatized when I was younger. And so my journey, especially with getting sober, the alcohol medicated that traumatic stress, the PTSD, the traumatic stress. At the time, I would have said it was anxiety, but really it was traumatic stress from a trauma that I ignored from childhood sexual abuse. And so that built up under the surface. The alcohol made that disappear. It seemed at the time, seemingly disappear, calm the nerves. And then when I got sober, I was faced with the inability to feel my feelings, also the benzo withdrawal, and also the traumatic stress was in full force. So there was so many uncomfortable feels in the beginning of recovery. So here's 4 things I want to share with you. Number 1, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. All feelings are temporary. Everything is temporary. The good times, the bad times, all the times, every time, it will always pass. Whatever it is, it will pass. This too, all of this shall pass. Number 2, make a decision. This is something that was super, super critical for me, I made a decision. I made a decision that I was willing to feel my fear for the journey of climbing out of the hole that I had fallen into. Before I got sober, if something scared me, I stopped doing it. That was kind of like the way that I operated in life. So I kept not doing things. My life got really small. I had a freeway phobia. I had a panic attack on the freeway, a car accident. I almost died, and so I stopped driving on freeways. Life gets smaller. By the end, I was afraid to leave the house. Life's getting really small because when I'm nervous about things, I stop doing them. And then the alcohol stopped working, the benzos stopped working, so I just shrunk. I was in this little hole because of my fear. So when I got sober, I made a decision that changed everything, which is the invitation to you too right now, is to decide. Decide, are you willing to feel the buzz in your body that we call feel, so that you can grow and expand and get through this period of your time and grow into a life beyond your wildest dreams. Really, that's just the adventure that it is. The adventure of recovery and facing our feels, transforming our feels one at a time. And so what my decision was, it literally, I think I've already done an F-bomb in this video, but what I decided was fuck fear. That was my motto, was fuck fear. Because I had nothing to lose. I felt like I had already been like, I was living this, I was afraid to do laundry, guys. Do you relate to this? Like being afraid of everything and then you get sober and it's like, how do I do laundry sober? If you did not drink a lot, if you're not, then you might not get what I'm saying there. But if you did, then you know what I'm saying. It's alcohol accompanied me on all of my life's adventures, including the chores. And so in that decision, fuck fear, what that meant was, at 6 months sober, I said that I got on that plane and I went to India. That was a 16-hour flight from San Francisco to Dubai. And then it was another however many 6-hour flight or something from Dubai into Mysore. So I got over my fear of flying on airplanes. I got over my fear of driving on freeways. I got over my fear of public speaking. Oh my God. So I slowly leaned into everything that I was afraid of if I felt called to do it, if I felt like it was aligned with my action, my heart and my spirit. And so that's how I define courage. Taking action in alignment with our heart and our spirit. I didn't push through fear for the sake of pushing through fear. Like if it was a tiger was chasing me, like I wasn't trying to seek out fearful things. But if there was something that I wanted to do in my life and I felt like fear was the pathway to get to it, then I was willing to do that. I was willing to feel uncomfortable and learn how to be with my nervous system while I pursued that thing, whether it was driving or flying or whatever it was. And slowly but surely, by doing one foot in front of the other and being willing to feel uncomfortable, being like literally allowing a vibration in my body that I didn't prefer, like the vibration that we would call anxiety, like just letting that be in my body. And what I've come to find out was that that's also the same as courage. So if I'm moving towards that thing that feels in alignment with me and I'm feeling scared while I do it, that's actually courage. That's what courage feels like. And isn't it right that when we look back at the action that we took, that we can see that it was courageous? Like getting sober is courageous, like putting ourselves out there in whatever way is courageous, whatever you're doing that's courageous. But at the time it feels like it's fear. So I made a commitment, and that's the suggestion I have for you, is make a commitment to be courageous. Be willing to be courageous for your evolution, for recovering your mental well-being and your mental health, for climbing out of the hole that you may have got into by avoiding fear, by seeking out to live your best life, by honoring your spirit and your calling and shining the gifts that God has given you into the world, expressing yourself, being who you already are on the inside, shining that, sharing that with the world, being seen, being heard, putting yourself out there, whatever it looks like for you, but being willing to allow the vibration in our body of the energy that we call fear or anxiety, allowing it to be there while you move forward into that thing, and know that it's courage. And 3, for navigating the emotional roller coaster. This is super simple and I still use it all the time, but I definitely in the beginning of my recovery, it was like imperative to use, which is breathing. I know, it sounds super simple, but here's the deal. And this is just a real quick, and if you haven't seen any of my other videos on anxiety, because I got a lot of them because I had a lot of anxiety. So there is 2 parts of our nervous system that I want to talk about. Our autonomic nervous system, we got the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. The way that I remember that, or the way that I remembered it at first, P for peace, parasympathetic is for peace, and S for stress, sympathetic nervous system for stress. So when we are in fight or flight, when we're stressed, when we're activated, when we're anxious, when we're angry, that's all the sympathetic nervous system being activated. And the way that we turn off our sympathetic nervous system is by turning on our parasympathetic nervous system. If we're resting and digesting and then a tiger comes, we gotta run from that tiger. It's not time to digest. It's not time to ovulate. It's not time to, do any of those other functionings. So we get that adrenaline and that cortisol to run from the tiger. How do we turn on the parasympathetic nervous system to calm ourselves down or to ease the emotional roller coaster? Deep breaths. Deep breaths will turn on the parasympathetic nervous system. We can take 3 right now. Close your eyes, take a second breath, inhale. And exhale. Let's take one more breath together. Inhale. And exhale. Go ahead, open your eyes if they were closed. The cool thing about this is nobody has to know we're doing it. It's free, always available, and there anytime, and works every time. And so I don't know if you actually breathed with me just now, those 3 breaths, those 3 conscious mindful breaths, but if you did, do you feel more calm? Do you? Put it in the comments. I feel calm, 3 breaths, what's up? That is really helpful to know. And maybe it's even you do the pee and pray, right? Where you get triggered and you're in the emotional roller coaster and you're like, hang on a second, I gotta go to the bathroom. But really you're going to the bathroom to do the pee and pray, right? You get into the bathroom and you do your breaths. I still do that. You guys, I got sober in 2009, as I'm making this in 2019. When I was moving into this villa, actually, I got really triggered in the office with the agent. I was like, hang on a second, I gotta go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom and I'm just like, get it together. But I just calm myself down, I focus on my breath, and then I walk back out completely centered. The aim isn't to be untriggered. Like, we want our sympathetic nervous system to trigger us when we feel threatened, because we actually, if we are being chased by a tiger or something more realistic, we want to be able to respond. So it's a practice of deactivating our triggers. So instead of the button pushers of the world, when people are pushing our buttons in the world, instead of trying to get rid of all the button pushers so that we can be emotionally stable, it's removing our buttons. And the way that I have come to find to remove my buttons over the years is by doing these things like the pee and pray. If I go to the bathroom when I'm activated and I calm down, and I don't do this as much as I used to. Like, I used to in my first year of recovery do this all the time, and now it's not very often, but I still will, because I still want to come from a centered place, a centered, grounded place, not engage with the world from the emotional roller coaster, because it's not cute. It's not cute to throw your emotions at people, blame people for your emotional world. So how do we get out of that? We learn emotional mastery. So when we get triggered, we engage with it in a skillful way. And that might mean the pee and pray, the 3 breaths. The fourth thing I want to share with you today is counting. So this is also pretty basic, like breathing, but it is a game changer. It's something that I think I actually really do it anymore, but I did it a lot in the beginning. And again, so once we use these tools, especially if we're in early recovery and we've never used tools like these before, we're burning new neural pathways in our brain. Neuroplasticity is in effect. So if I'm always thinking this way and I keep burning new neural pathways by programming myself in the moment, directing how I'm gonna be thinking or how I'm gonna be feeling and how I engage with my thoughts and my feelings in real time, I am changing how my brain operates. If we're being reactive and then we train ourselves to respond a different way, eventually that becomes the new normal. So I don't deliberately count anymore. But this is a great tool to use, especially if you feel like you're in the midst of the emotional roller coaster, which does, from my experience, it does end. We don't end our emotions or our triggers necessarily, unless we're enlightened, right? But we can recover like substantially and get off the roller coaster. And so here's how it works. When we are really emotionally reactive, think of it like our emotional brain, which is the amygdala. It's back here, and our prefrontal cortex is in the front. That's our logical, rational brain. So if I am super activated and I'm in the emotional roller coaster and I'm either angry or fearful or whatever it may be, that's basically the energy and the attention in my brain is focused back here in the more reptilian brain, getting ready to run from that tiger. But the way that I bring my attention out of that, right, other than breathing, which turns on the parasympathetic nervous system for peace, is counting. When one counts, when a human counts, what we do is we're bringing the attention from here to our prefrontal cortex. We're turning it back on, essentially, because this has been hijacked. You guys ever heard of the term amygdala hijack? Well, if you haven't, you can watch the video up here where I explain it in a little more detail. But just for now, you can know that when we count, we are turning back on our logical, rational brain, and that's giving us a pause. And Thomas Jefferson, I believe, he said count to 10 if you're angry and count to 100 if you're really angry. And so the counting, literally, not only is it giving our mind other thoughts to hold, other than how dare you, or dwelling on the story that's creating the feeling, so getting mad at the person or whatever is coming up, or getting scared about something or worried about what people are going to think about us, we bring our mind to counting so we don't have the ability to grab onto these other thoughts that are potentially mood killers. We're counting, and we're bringing your attention from our emotional-ish brain to our logical prefrontal cortex. So it's a game changer. So know it will pass, this too shall pass. Choose courage, decide that you're willing to be uncomfortable for the sake of your dreams. Breathe and count, and there you go. I hope you found this video helpful. Share it with your friends in recovery, especially in early sobriety. And if you like this video, like it, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Have a beautiful day.